Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's D-Man the Great here, and today I'm here to talk about a very serious topic, as you could tell from the title. And I'm not gonna try to get too political with this because it's not really. This is not really about politics, and it's not a political issue. But people like to get butthurt and get all up in their feelings over something that they can't change and something that doesn't actually apply to their lives. And first off, there is a lot of folks talking about trying to insert their 2 cents in. If you are not a part of the offended party, you don't get an argument into this unless you've been educated about this issue enough to where you can inform others about exactly what goes on. If you have not experienced or seen anything of the sort, then you don't get an opinion on this type of issue and how people feel about it. So, with that being said, Kyrie Irving came out this week and said that the NBA shouldn't resume because it would take a lot of the emphasis away from the protests, and he also mentioned that we need to nip the whole issue in the bud, which is impossible, might I say. But he said we need to nip this issue in the bud, and we need change, and the NBA season be damned for this season. Now, with that being said, that would cause influx of, and it would destroy pretty much the entire money setup of the NBA right now, and it would possibly jeopardize next season and force us into a lockout, which would strike basketball even further down the line and cost a lot of these NBA players some of the money that they could put towards an Black Lives Matter movement or whatever movement they decide that they would want to donate to in the future, and could harm other projects outside of the NBA for smaller players like players that are Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, LeBron James kind of guys are making hundreds of millions a year. A little bit of time off isn't going to hurt those guys, but it certainly would hurt the Alex Carusos of the world, the Patrick Beverleys of the world, and they certainly have money, but it would hurt them as they would have no influx of cash really like that. But they'd have to go and seek sponsorships and multiple different things and have to go into the world to promote themselves for money and things of the sort. But they shouldn't have to do that. They have a job. These guys have a job to do. Their job is to go out there and play basketball to make these millions of dollars a year. And then I understand, and I feel strongly about this issue as well. And I get to make the statement on that because I am who I am, and they are who they are. But that's the thing, we get to comment on these kind of things. But the thing is, you can make all these demands and do all this and that, but that's not going to stop this issue. This issue has been hammered in, it's been locked in, it ain't going nowhere, and it ain't gonna go nowhere. Period. It's just not. The only thing we can do is to make sure that the punishments dealt out for issues like this are severe enough to where it would send whoever would even have the remote idea of doing something as evil or disgusting as any of these things, like Ahmaud Arbery and the police murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and things of the such. Those things can become very less commonplace that's what we want at the most, because at the end of the day, the police kill a good number of people every year. Some justified, some not justified. It's always somebody overreacting. It's always somebody that can't handle their job, and we gotta weed those guys out and we gotta get rid of them. But that's the problem that we can solve. We can't solve institutionalized. We can solve institutionalized racism. We could stop that. And we could nip that in the bud and have equal opportunity everywhere for everyone. But if an employer decides he doesn't really want to hire black people, he could use that in his hiring processes. We just won't know. So there's nothing we can necessarily do about things like that. And then I'm pretty sure, I'm 9 times out of 10, that the employers that do that are harming themselves of a great service, because even the people that you would assume, or the people they paint out to be racist, would hire an African American person, a Hispanic person, an Asian person to do the job that they need done in their store or their business. So it comes down to it. You're not going to be able to solve the problem of racism outright. You're not going to be able to do that in 2 months. Which is why, in my opinion, after listening to even to Austin Rivers and how it would affect the money of the NBA, and imagine a year without an NBA champion. That doesn't sound right, does it? We haven't had one of those since 1946. It's not good. And this would be the only season ever to not have an NBA champion. And we would possibly have a lockout next year. And it's like we've already had months on and off. Players like Kevin Love are saying, 8-9 month layoff isn't a good thing for a lot of NBA players. And that would be awful to have an 8-9 month layoff for NBA players right now. Let these guys go and play basketball so they could go and they could perform and do their job at the highest level. So at this point, I think that they should resume the NBA season. And that's my point I'm going to make, because it's just not right to put that big of a burden on these players, and they deserve better. We deserve better. America deserves better. Thank you, guys.